Hello, and welcome to Catholicism in the Car. My name is Parker Zerbal. Today I want to talk about principles we can use regarding environmental issues. Now, I definitely am around in a lot of circles where there are many people who either deny or minimize the effects of climate change. And honestly, for me, I'm not educated enough on the topic to make any actual observations. And I haven't come across a sizable enough amount of professionals who are in that field who disagree with climate change for me to justify disbelieving in it. Now, to what extent climate change is happening and all these sorts of things, as far as I know, that is debated among quite a large amount of scientists. For sure, I would disregard the political aspect of climate change, which vies for legislative changes on this issue. Okay, for say the United States to go green or whatever, I wouldn't want to take what someone says using a political platform as science. Okay, because across the board, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. If you're using a political platform, you should expect to be not trusted. Because you're either doing this for your own gain, or you're doing it for the party's gain, or you're doing it for some greater gain, but you're not able to take a step back and look at things objectively, okay? Because of just how, it's just the nature of politics. And not to say that there aren't good people in politics, but as a rule, it seems you can't trust what politicians say as any sort of truth, ever. So anyway, and again, I haven't done, I'm not a climatologist, or however they consider that, if you're a meteorologist or specialty within meteorology, I don't know. I really like to focus on philosophy, theology, and then I also enjoy pure mathematics a little bit. I get my really nerdy side on in that. I enjoy that a little bit. Anyway, yeah. So I think some principles we can take about climate change are that since God has created the earth is good, and everything on it is good. And we must therefore make manageable attempts to preserve those things and to be prudent and use them wisely. Okay? If we have a limited amount of oil on the earth, it would be most prudent to try to really pump lots of money into developing other sources of energy. And as of right now, personally, I think the only practical form of renewable energy that works 100% of the time is nuclear energy. Now, I know that gets very controversial. People think, bombs. And again, I'm no expert in this. But it seems to me, I don't understand why people neglect nuclear energy. They say, Chernobyl, the Fukuyasha, whatever it was in Japan, after that tsunami, the little meltdown that happened there, people freaked out. The 3 Mile Island thing in the U.S., even though nothing really happened there, it was more of in my understanding, it was more of a media trip than anything else. Okay, so those are three times in the last 60 years when something has happened like that. Only one of them has been catastrophic, and that was due to nuclear energy being used by a regime, aka the USSR, who was clearly unorganized and didn't prioritize people's lives over production, and there were a lot of really bad policies in place for when things like this happened. Anyway, it could have easily been avoided if proper governance were in place. I think the United States has had a very good track record with nuclear energy, and they have almost no direct impact on the environment. Now people say, oh, all the nuclear waste that is produced from it. Well, okay, yes, that is something to be concerned about, but we have the ability to store it in safe ways and in very large quantities, to where I think it would at least be able to get us along and reduce our dependency upon oil until we're able to develop technologies that can use even safer forms of energy. Maybe we're able to develop something with solar that is really efficient and cheap, and we were able to go on that instead, or do the same thing with oil, where we kind of lessen our dependency on nuclear and also continuously lessen our dependency on oil, and then we're able to switch over to whatever that one is. But it appears to me at this point in time, now again, I'm no expert in any of this, but that the only viable option we have besides oil is nuclear energy. And it's definitely the most efficient form of energy. Now the thing is you can't use it for cars, but you can use it for a lot of the base kind of manufacturing deals, manufacturing, housing, all these sorts of things. But as far as I know, I can't think of a way you could use it for cars, unless we move to electric cars, which then you could get that electricity from nuclear power, and then you would have a pretty renewable resource for electric cars. But as we know, the problem with electric cars is, yes, they're very fuel efficient, but traveling long distances is quite difficult for people. So like the practicality of going on like trips and things with a car like that makes it not really feasible. Now, granted, yes, I mean, the vast majority of people, when they use their cars, they're only going short distances 90% of the time. So yeah, 90% of the time, you could use your Tesla or your electric car. But then what about that 10% of the time when you want to go on a trip more than 2 hours away or something, whatever it is? Anyway. All right, those are my thoughts on the environmental issues. Probably not going to talk about that too much in the future, just because, as I've said, I don't know a whole lot about it. I think Catholics definitely need to be concerned about the environmental issue, just because God created the earth, and we were put as stewards of it. Now, we have to balance the line. We can't worship the earth. We can't worship the preservation of the earth. We're worshiping God. But as stewards of the earth, as the protectors of it and the cultivators of it, we shouldn't ruin it either. And it seems that the vast consensus of scientists points to the fact that we are significantly harming the earth by what we're doing with our current capacity of oil usage and fossil fuels, things of that nature. Anyway, hope this was helpful.